Anybody have a story about how good God has been to them? There's the opportunity on a daily basis to reflect on how good God has been to us as individuals. But reflection takes on a different meaning during the month of February when we consider everything that our ancestors had to go through and endure in order for us to be here today. And so even if we don't have our own individual testimony that we can put our finger on, we have a testimony as a people for how God has kept us and for how God has grounded us, for how God has held us and healed us and allowed us to experience some of the worst atrocities in this world and still be the most loving people on the face of the earth. We have a testimony about how good God has been to us, how faithful he has been, how loving and how gracious he has been. And we know that the same God that has kept us will keep us. And so there's nothing that can come our way that can take us out, because the God that we serve is one who walks with us every step of the way. Thank you, God, for your faithfulness and for your love. And this is such a wonderful opportunity. During the month of February, we are blessed to be able to hear the stories of our elders here at Church on Purpose, to glean the nuggets and the insights and the wisdom from their experiences so that we can be equipped as the generation who is picking up the torch with the appropriate context for all of the work that has already been done to get us where we are today, so that we can carry the work forward rather than thinking that we have all of the great ideas and starting from scratch. We are grateful for all of the efforts and for all of the endurance of our elders who made it possible for us to be here today. And we have been blessed here at Church on Purpose this month. Y'all give it up for our elders that have already shared this month, encouraging us. Shout out to the McGees who kicked us off at the beginning of the month. And then our sister Anise A. Dale shared at our 8:30 service last Sunday. And Karen Shelton shared for our 10:30 service last Sunday. And just as a heads up, we were unable to get the recording for Anise's presentation last Sunday. And we want to be intentional about making sure that we are recording and documenting these stories as they're shared. And so she is going to share again next Sunday for our 8:30 service, so that we can make sure that we capture that on video and have that on record. But so it's not the same experience. She shared during her story that she and Gladys have been friends since she was 5 years old. And so Gladys is going to do the interview with her next Sunday, so that we got the sanitized version of everything last Sunday while I was doing the interview. But Gladys is finna to open up the closet and pull out some of them skeletons and get into the nitty gritty. So we're looking forward to hearing that story next Sunday as our sister Anise comes back to share with us again. And then, of course, we'll close out the month with our Black History program next Sunday at 10:30. But today, we are so blessed, y'all, to have the opportunity to hear from just a phenomenal woman here in Omaha that has done amazing things. And thank God for her accepting our invitation today, because this is apparently unofficially Brenda Council Month in the city of Omaha. She was recognized on Friday by Congressman Don Bacon as her name was read into the congressional record in Congress. And so wonderful celebration on Friday. She, along with Fred Conley, two great advocates for our community, and just so thankful for the opportunity for them to be recognized and celebrated. And then she's also scheduled to be Gladys's guest on her Hungry Club program, I believe this Wednesday, right? This Wednesday afternoon. And so she'll have the opportunity to share more of her story there. And so we're just so grateful that for all that she has given to this community, all that she has poured into this community, that she has the opportunity to be recognized and celebrated for all of her investments. And we're so grateful to have her here today. So please, y'all stand on your feet and help me welcome our elder for today, Ms. Brenda Council. So this is my oldest daughter Jada and my oldest son David, and they will be doing your interview today. Give me 1 second. Let me make sure I get you the right microphone. And so, just as a reminder, at the conclusion, well, towards the end of the interview, we will have an opportunity for questions from the audience. So, just kind of be taking notes and be thinking about what you would like to ask her closer to the end of the interview. Final note for all of our children that are in the room, if you want to come down so that you can sit here on the floor for the interview, come on down. You don't have to sit in your seats there. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Okay, so we're gonna ask you what state are you from, and what's your name, and what do you do for a living?
Okay. First, good morning to everyone. Want to give all praise and glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you for inviting me here today. I had to let you know, Pastor had to get permission from my pastor for me to miss worship service today to be with you. I've been nearly 60 years affiliated with the Church of the Living God, Temple number 33, where my pastor is Overseer Claude White. So I bring you greetings from my church home. And I'm born and raised in North Omaha. Uh, Proud to be from North Omaha. You mentioned Gladys. I don't, is she in here today? No, she's not in here because I shout out to Pinckney Street. That's where I was raised, on Pinckney Street. And when Gladys was about 8 or 9 years old, they lived across the street from us. So I knew Big Mama from the time I was a teenager and grew up with all of her kids. So I'm a North Omaha kid.
What was Omaha like growing up back when you were, a little child?
Well, I tell you, Omaha was a lot different. Some of you may have heard about redlining, and what redlining was a systemic, institutionally racist policy of sections of the city being carved out just for black folk. It's the only place you could live. So when I was coming up in North Omaha, our world revolved around the area that we were technically confined to, but we didn't realize that we were confined to. But we were community. And what I remember most about coming up is knowing all of the families in my neighborhood, all of our parents. A lot of them worked at the same places. My dad worked in a packing house for 42 years. My mom retired from the VA hospital. But we were all in the same boat, right? We didn't realize that we were poor in the monetary sense of the term because we were so rich in community. And that's what my memories are, is that I was nurtured by a community. And when you are talking about faith, what'll stick with me till the day I die is one of the elders on Pinckney Street. When you leave her house, she always said to us, keep your hand in God's hand. And that's what guided us.
How do you think the city has changed over the years that you've been in Omaha?
It's changed dramatically. First of all, where black people could live in this city has expanded greatly. I remember we weren't much past west of 30th Street, and we weren't much north of Sprague Street. So where we can live has opened up immensely. Representation. When I was coming up, we didn't have black city council members, or we only had one black school board member. We had one state senator. That's kind of been the thing. But I see county commission. We didn't have a county commissioner. We've had county commissioners since 1992. So to witness that kind of change has been good. But I've also witnessed, like I said, when I was coming up, most of the men in the community worked at the packing houses, and when the packing houses closed, a lot of people, a lot of families lost a source of income, and we began to see the community decline a little bit.
So we've done a little research, but what were challenges that you experienced during your childhood, and are those challenges being fixed today?
Well, and that's the interesting thing. Our parents never focused on challenges. They always focused on taking advantage of opportunities, and that's what we were focused on, was taking advantage of opportunities. I know the question about school. I mean, all I remember as a kid is life revolving around school, and everybody in the neighborhood felt invested in school. And it was a little different then, too, because we had a lot of people, we had a lot of teachers and principals who looked like us. And we knew they cared about us. And we knew that they had these grand expectations of us. And that's a little bit a difference. What I see today is that there's not that much expectation, not much being expected of us, and that's what, in my opinion, we really need to get back to.
What do you like most about Omaha?
Family. That's what's kept me in Omaha. I've had, hundreds of opportunities to leave Omaha and to take bigger and better jobs and live in bigger and, quote, better cities. But what keeps me here is family. And I'm not just talking about my biological family. My family, my neighborhood, my community, the people I grew up with that invested in me and instilled in me a sense of obligation. I firmly believe in the scripture, to whom much is given, much is expected. And my parents, like I said, had high expectations of each and every one of us. And I'm proud to say that myself and my siblings have met their expectations.
What inspired you to become a politician, since that's your career field?
Interesting. Where's Shar? Since I was in the third grade, I made my first career decision. And in the third grade, I wanted to be a school teacher. And that's all I ever wanted to do was teach. And my mother's two oldest sisters were teachers. And I looked at your Black Heritage program. My mother was raised in Topeka, Kansas. She knew the family of Linda Brown. My mother's oldest sister was the first black teacher to integrate the school staffs in Topeka, Kansas after Brown versus Board of Education. So education was always ingrained in me and my siblings. And all I wanted to be was like my aunts. I wanted to be a teacher. And what they used to do was send me old flashcards and old teachers' guides and manuals. And I practiced being a teacher on my younger brother and sister, who hated me. Because we were coming up, we were latchkey kids and didn't know it. My dad and my mom, they worked. And when we got home from school, there was no parent there. We were expected to look after ourselves. My oldest brother, who was 5 years older than me, he got out of school and he hit the streets. So I was expected to take care of my younger brother and sister, and I made them play school every day after school. And I mean, literally, they hated me. We had a 2-story house. I made them go to the top of the steps, And I would ask them questions, you know, on the flashcards or out of the teacher's manual. And every time they got a right answer, they could move down a step. And when they got to the bottom, they could go outside. So all I wanted to do was be a teacher. And my undergraduate degree from the University of Nebraska is in secondary education. I was actually certified to teach social studies, grades 7 through 12. But I got sidetracked. My last year at Nebraska, I met a guy who, I got into an argument, literally, you know, on what is the best way to improve the quality of life of black people in America. And I was arguing education, 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 education. And this brother was a freshman in the law school at Nebraska. He said, the law, everything is governed by the law. Everything we do is impacted by law. So we need people in positions to make laws and enforce laws. And I pretended not to pay attention to his argument, but later went and talked to a friend of mine who I knew was at Creighton, and they had a affirmative action scholarship. So you'll need to ask me whether I support affirmative action. I am a product of affirmative action, a proud product of affirmative action, and I tell everybody who's anti-affirmative action, affirmative action got me into school. It didn't get me out. I got out. All affirmative action did was give me an opportunity that I didn't have. And so I ended up at Creighton Law School, and the course of my life shifted. And I got involved in working in community through my legal practice, and the late Ruth Thomas, who just recently passed at 105, approached me about running for school board. And because of my passion for education, and at that time there were big budget crises in the Omaha Public Schools. They were going to eliminate summer school, which I thought was ridiculous, because for African American children, summer school was often the only opportunity for enhancement, and we always think remediation, but enhancement. Our kids couldn't afford to go to science camp or math camp. So if we didn't have summer school, our kids wouldn't have that opportunity. So that's what got me involved in politics, a desire to address educational issues that were impacting our community.
That's really good. And what has been your biggest accomplishment?
Oh, my Lord. You know, it's really interesting you ask that question, because I don't register the things that I do as accomplishments or not. I just want to get things done. I want to change conditions. So you know, when I was on the school board, getting magnet school programs established in OPS. That, I think that was an accomplishment. When I was on the city council, getting changes to the charter that would enable citizens to vote on critical issues, like if the mayor left office with 3 years left, you know, did they have an opportunity to vote on it or not? In the legislature, what I consider one of my biggest accomplishments was one year I got the body to approve a bill that I passed that would hire 150 at-risk youth across the state of Nebraska to work in our state parks. I was able to get $1 million allocated for that program. And 150 people from North Omaha to Scottsbluff worked in our parks, and it provided opportunity to young people who hadn't been employed before, had never seen a check before, wasn't aware of our state park system and what they could do. And I'm proud to say that Senator Ashley Spivey has reintroduced that bill in this legislative session. So hopefully that'll be revived and provide opportunities for our young people to learn about conservation and to earn an income.
What change would you like to see happen in Omaha?
How long are we going to be here today? how, how long will we be here today? Well, one of the changes I really want to see is our focus on education. And I don't know about you, but it disturbs me when I hear of the number of our young people who can't read at grade level by the third grade. That's we have to address that, and we have to address that immediately. A couple of years ago, I was involved in a program called Generation Exchange that put nice little senior citizens like myself in primary grade classrooms to assist the teachers. And I hear people all the time want to blame the school system, blame laid at the teachers for our kids not being able to read it by grade 3. Oh, they have a role to play. They have a role to play. But if you haven't visited primary grade classrooms recently and see our kids who come in 6 and 7 years old and can't recognize the alphabet, and then we want to question why they can't read by age 3. So what I'm saying to you is the village has to address that issue. We have to ensure that our children are prepared. They come into school right now, the average white child has heard 3 million words by the time they enter kindergarten. Our kids have heard about 500,000, and too many of them are profane, but so when we ask why they can't read, a lot of it rests on us. So that's where I want to see change. I want to see us get back to the community I grew up in, where we placed such a value on education. It was so important. So that's one change I'd like to see, us get back to that.
Who influenced you the most in life?
My parents. They were my major influence, but my second major influence were teachers. Some of the people who had the greatest impact on my life were teachers. I said I made my first career decision when I was in the 3rd grade because my 3rd grade teacher, Dr. Beatrice Harrison, didn't play. She didn't mess around, and she had such high expectations of me. And then I went to Horseman Junior High, which is now King Science Center, where Dr. Eugene Skinner was my principal from kindergarten through the 9th grade. So, and these are people who just expected so very much of us. One of our core teachers just laid to rest last week, Miss Mildred Mobley. I mean, these are people who poured into us. So my parents, educators, have been probably the most influential people in my life.
What motivates you to keep going during difficult times?
You. You and you. You. That's what motivates me to keep going. Because if I give up, I give in. And you all deserve to have the very best. You deserve the most opportunity that we can provide for you. So that's what motivates me. That's what drives me, is to see life be better for you than it was for me. I mean, this is the only generation that hasn't done better than the generation before it. That's got to change. We have to ensure that we provide a better opportunity for a better life for these folk right here and the folks that come behind them. So that's what motivates me, to fulfill the commandment, right?
What is one lesson you've learned that everyone should know, and why?
That's, you gave me that question in advance, and I really thought about that. There are a lot of lessons. Pay attention to your parents. That's the lesson pay attention to your parents. You may think you know more than they do. You will never know more than they do. We will never know more than they do. So that's the lesson.
Does anybody have any questions for her?
Way back up in the corner there.
First of all, I want to say thank you for coming. And may not know me personally, but you have had a big influence on my life. I came to Omaha in 1969, so I wasn't born here, but I was raised here. And I have followed your career over the years that I've been here, and you are absolutely correct about the education being very important in our lives. My question for you is, what do you see as the biggest challenge for Black people in America today and going into the future?
I'll come with some tough questions. Well, because we face so many challenges, right? We've got to deal with the income gap, the lack of wealth that we were deprived of the opportunity to build. I mean, there's so much work that has to go in to bridging that economic gap that leads to the classism that we see so much. But I'm gonna get on one of my soapboxes. Folks, we gotta vote. We've got to vote. I'm going to share a statistic, a data point for you, and you can get a feel for how that has affected us. There are about 28,000 registered voters in what we know as North Omaha. About 28,000 registered voters. Should be more than that, but there's about 28,000. Since 2009, 18,000 of them haven't ever voted in a city election. Is the mathing? 28,000 registered voters, and since 2009, 18,000 of them haven't voted in a municipal election. So I take great pride, you take great pride in the fact that we now have a Black mayor, but 10,000 people voted, 18,000 stayed at home. How do we ever expect to make a difference and to change expectation when the expectation that we have created is we'll stay at home? We won't do anything about it. President Obama told us years ago, I said it on Friday, electoral politics is not a spectator sport. You can't sit on the sidelines and just watch it. You've got to get engaged in it. So, I mean, if I had anything that I left here with to say to you is that we have to vote. Because if we vote, we get people in office that begin to address the issues that impact us. They establish policies that work in our behalf. Look at it. How many Black senators do we have in Nebraska right now? Three. Thank you. We have three. We have 3 Black senators. First time in the history, of the state of Nebraska. We have an opportunity to make a difference. Not that great an opportunity because we're at a statistical disadvantage in the legislature, right? Right now, and I'm not trying to be partisan, but it's reality. There are how many state senators? Because this is what the young people, this is what y'all need to know. How many state senators do we have in Nebraska? Huh? What are we? What do you say, young man? What do you say?
43.
But you're close. Nebraska's a unicameral, so which means we only have one house. We don't have a House of Representatives and a Senate. We just have a Senate. We have one house. And we have 49 senators. That's it. 49. So let's do some mathing. Let's do some mathing. If I want to pass a bill, how many votes do I need? I need 25. I need 25. There are only 17 Democratic senators in the Nebraska legislature. And I'm not saying that Democrats always vote right. I'm not saying that. But when you're at a statistical disadvantage, your opportunities for policies being enacted that benefit you are reduced. So we've got to be about electing people. We've got to be about challenging actions like redistricting. You know, we redistrict, it amazes me. Everybody knows we're a quote called a blue dot, right? Yeah. Why are we called a blue dot? You say? Okay, the Democratic Party's color is blue, but why is this congressional district considered a blue dot? Okay, you're close, but the interesting thing is we're a blue dot because we give our electoral college vote, our vote for the national office, the president, Democrat. What's the party of our congressman?
Republican.
So how does that happen? How does that happen? What it says to us sometimes, what it says to us when we go into the poll, we say, okay, I'm going to vote the presidential election. I'm going to forget everything else down the ballot. The only thing that's important to me is the presidential. But believe me, all politics is local. You have the greatest opportunity to impact change by engaging in local political efforts. So your city council races, your school board races, your state legislature, your county board, your county attorney. Right now, the county attorney election is this year, right? What is one of the most critical issues facing the city of Omaha when it comes to criminal justice? Juvenile justice. Juvenile justice. And what has our current county attorney ever advocated for when it comes to addressing the rise in juvenile justice? Lock up 11-year-olds. Who handles prosecutions in juvenile court? The county attorney. So why don't you do something in your office, within your day-to-day operations, instead of running to the legislature and say, I need you to pass a law now to make 11-year-olds adults. Instead of what can we do when those 11-year-olds come in juvenile court? What can we do to prevent them from getting into adult court? So when y'all making decisions about who you're voting for, take some time to look at what they're doing. You know, I was always told, I hear what you say, but I believe what you do. So we'll hear what they say. You got to pay attention to what they're doing and whether what they're doing is really going to improve your quality of life. So we absolutely need to vote, and we need to vote in large numbers. We can no longer sit back and say, it doesn't affect me. It does affect you. And right now, I guess I've never been more concerned in my life than right now. Than right now. Because I see our democracy eroding in front of our very eyes. Our democracy is eroding. But the reality is, people don't realize, when they say make America great again, they want to go back to what America was founded on. Okay? No sugarcoating. They want to take us back to what America was founded on. I'm going to challenge you, young people. Read the opening of the Constitution. Okay, we all talk about the Constitution. Read the Constitution. And if you don't see in that document what they're trying to get back to now, then you don't really understand history and how we got here. Because our Constitution was founded to protect white male landholders. And that's what they're trying to get back to, is protecting white male landowners, which excludes who? Black people, women, and see, that's what gets me about women, you know, particularly white women. They don't see, they're coming after you too. You're not safe. Poor whites, they're coming after you too. Poor whites didn't hold land in 1776. You know, poor whites had to take literacy tests like we had to take literacy tests, and they couldn't read either. So I'm just saying, we have an opportunity collectively, but we have to work collectively. Yeah. We have to be in it to win it, and it's up to you all. You got to take advantage of every opportunity that's available to you right now. Everyone. Take education seriously. Read, and read again. You know, I know y'all have Google and AI and all that. Nothing takes the place of a book. Reading a book. So, y'all not going to invite me anymore. Come on.
This is the place you can have those conversations. Where's Michael? Hold on.
Hey, babe.
Sorry.
Look at this line. I don't think my mic is on, though. Y'all hear me? Okay. Thank you for being here. We're so happy to see you. Thank you for sharing
My
all
pleasure.
of the nuggets with us. Is that on? Okay. Okay, now I'm working. Good morning.
Good morning.
PT Brenda, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for paving the way for people like me. I have a question. I wanted to know, when you are challenged, because especially in politics, it's always been challenging, right? And when you're in challenging positions and roles and times, what do you do to continue to remember that you have to stay in it to do the good fight?
I just have to think about my family and where we've come from, you know, and the hard work that they put in to make things better for me. And I would feel as if I had failed if I didn't do everything that I have the ability to do to make things better. So that's all I can tell you. That's what drives me. Is knowing that there were people who believed in me and poured so much into me that if I don't, and I know it's cliche-ish, but if I don't pay that forward, then my time here, Marian Wright Edelman said something decades ago that I firmly believe and I adopted as my kind of motto, that service is the rent we pay for the privilege of being here. That's the rent we pay for the privilege of being here. And that's what's kind of motivated me. And I'm kind of thinking that maybe it's paying off a little bit, you know. The Bible says you're 70, and if you're fortunate, you get 70, right? I'm more than 70. So I've been blessed, and I thank God. You know, every day I wake up, I wake up every day and the first thing I say is, thank you, God, that last night wasn't my last night. Okay? So I know that I'm covered. I believe I'm covered. And that I owe that to return what I've been given.
Thank you.
I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
You know, as an old person, I tend to ramble. So
Ramble away.
I tend to ramble.
Miss Brenda, thank you for being here. I'm back here.
Oh.
It's Gladys.
Hey, Miss Gladys.
How should we show up in the room in these times that we're living in? 'Cause
Prepared.
quite prepared.
Prepared. You know,
What do you mean by prepared?
you know, we just can't show up without having taken the time to understand the issues that we're impacting. Sometimes we just show up and we're loud, but we don't know what the issue is, and we haven't bothered to study the best way to address it. So, you know, I'm telling you, when we need to show up, and we need to show up prepared. We need to understand what the issues are, because I do a lot of podcasts. This is guy, Isaiah Martin. I know y'all on the internet, but this young brother, he gets into these debates with people, and they can't get to him because he's got knowledge, he's got facts, and he sits there and he reads them every single time. You know, they were arguing with him about tariffs the other day, and the brother just said, simple, he said, but didn't we have a free trade agreement? Didn't we have a free trade agreement? So how is a tariff better than free? Okay, that's all I'm saying. And because they'll hit you with their talking points, with the gaslighting, and we just get hung up on that, and we don't take the time to peel back and look at what the truth is behind some of the stuff that you hear being talked about. So we just can't show up and not be prepared. When we show up, we got to be prepared. And these spaces, sometimes we have to kick the door in.
Hello, Mrs. Council.
Hello, babe. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Blessed.
Nice. Okay. I am one of the Omaha babies that got to watch you as I grew up, and now I am a proud North Omaha native, and I'm really happy and eager to follow in some of the steps that you have taken, and just watching it as a kid, I have to say thank you and give you your flowers for being the person that you are in education, but not only in education, but in multiple different spaces, and how you have shown up and how you have been intentional with the things that you stand in. It's been an honor.
You make me proud. I mean, that's when I go into these spaces and I see young people like you who have picked up the mantle and are moving forward. That's what lets me know that the work I've done has not been in vain. You're my work. You're the example of it. You keep doing what you're doing. And I was somewhere. Where's Camden? He had a basketball game. I was over at Mandela on Thursday and sitting in their assembly Thursday morning, and that's what gives me joy, right? To see young people who appreciate an education and are actively engaged in learning. So we had a good time over there. A friend of mine sadly lost her battle to cancer, but she had a collection of photographs from South Africa and Mandela. She actually had a copy of the ballot from 1994 when he was elected president of South Africa, and that was presented to the school on Thursday. And she was my dearest friend. We shared the same name, She was a Brenda, I was a Brenda. She was born in October, I was born in October. She was born in 1933, and I was born in 1933. But that's what we have to do. Please, please encourage these young people. Please, please, please.
2 more questions.
Good morning, Miss Brenda.
Good morning.
Here, come on over to this way.
Okay, hey, Miss Alicia, how you doing?
I am great. Glad to be in this space with you this morning. I've had the opportunity to work alongside with you on several different things. And one of the things that I want you to speak about to young people, because oftentimes they think I don't even have to say me, y'all do the work and y'all getting paid and y'all getting all this money and y'all rich while y'all doing this work, right? Share what inspires you to do the work of service and not get paid, and why it is so important to be in those boards and those committees and not expect financial gain all the time for those.
Yeah, I tell people ask me today, they ask me, what do you do? You know, I'm thank God I'm retired. And Alicia will second this, it will confirm. I work harder now and get paid less. And that's because, again, I believe that if you have a gift or a talent, and you have the ability to make a contribution, then that is the greater good. That's what we're supposed to be trying to serve, the greater good. And I do serve sometimes, to my chagrin. I serve on a lot of boards, but because I believe in the work that they're doing, and if I put in the effort and the time, that they can be successful at the work they're doing, whether it's building political power, political and economic power, political power. I see my man Joshua back there, Black in Action Collective, whether we're building economic power and housing with the Omaha Economic Development Corporation, or whether we're building a healthier community. Where's Doris? With the North Omaha Community Care Council and organizations like the Center for Holistic Development, you put in the time because you know that they can deliver what we need. So yeah, that's what drives me. I literally work more. I would work more now, retired, for less money. Thank God, as my mother would say, thank God for my pension. And if you don't kind of see it coming through, the other thing that I like having fun, and people who know me know that I enjoy having fun. My mother, God rest her soul, used to call me, she the class clown, and I accepted it because it was true, but you know. We face so many trials and tribulations that if we can't turn to our faith and our humor, we don't make it through. We don't make it through.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here. I have would love your insight on it. I have a very deep and embedded love for children, smaller children. I am the owner of a daycare center as well, but I would love to hear your thoughts and insight and opinion on early childhood and child care, where it's going and some of the things that are happening, funding and different things that's being pulled, and how you think it's going to impact the generation that's coming up and moving ahead. And I heard you mention several things about education and what that looks like. So I'm curious more or less of your thoughts and opinions on that.
I've always been a strong advocate for early childhood education and providing adequate funding for early childhood education. And I kind of make a distinction between daycare and early childhood education, because daycare kind of implies that I'm just watching you, okay? So I advocate for early childhood education and providing adequate funding, particularly to small providers, you know, so that they are equipped. You know, you can't deliver education if you don't have education, right? So if you haven't taken the time to prepare yourself to impart some knowledge and information, then it's not going to have the same impact on our children. But we do need more funding for early childhood education. We need to prepare more people to provide early childhood education. So we're in the middle of a legislative session right now, and believe me, some of the bills that are being introduced are eroding those opportunities for our young people. So we have to be vigilant and diligent about watching what's going on, and then because you'll wake up tomorrow and you're like, there's no Head Start? Because believe me, the attack of this administration on the Department of Education can ultimately result in the elimination of Head Start. And we know that hundreds and thousands of our children have benefited from Head Start programs.
Everyone, please give a hand to
Thank you.
Hold on. Y'all don't go nowhere. Yes, please, y'all. We're gonna get a picture real quick. So, David, rotate the chairs, and Miss Brenda, we gonna have you sit right here in the middle, and then Jada, you sit on that side. David, you sit on this side. Let's squeeze this in, and let's get our taller kids in the back, please. Taller kids in the back, younger kids down in the front. You can just sit right in front of them. Yeah, scoot out. Yep. Any of the other kids that are out there, if you want to come down and be in the picture, come on down. You getting it too? You getting it too? Hold on, we got two more coming.
Mariana? Microphone, man. Oh, you.
All eyes this way. Can I get everybody eyes? Can I get everybody smile? On three. 1, 2, 3. One more time on 3. 1, 2, 3. Excellent job, everybody.
All right.